Leadership Models by Quantes Spears. What are leadership models? A leadership model is a theoretical framework for how best to manage employees. It typically suggests a corresponding response style to employees and organizational needs that has proven useful in that model. Leadership models often influence common leadership styles. Common leadership styles include that people might be familiar with are autocratic leadership, laissez-faire leadership, bureaucratic leadership, transactional leadership, transformational leadership, servant leadership, or even coaching leadership. Applying the different leadership models to the issue. The issue is that inadequate staffing in healthcare is a major issue within the healthcare system and affects all stakeholders in the organization. Inadequate staff leads to increased workload on current staff, which leads to the employee burnout, which in turn will then lead employees to quit, or it will lead to a decrease in employee morale. Inadequate staff will also lead to low quality of care because there isn't enough staff to accommodate the needs of all patients. Low quality of care results in poor outcomes, which is bad for the organization. The two models that will be looked at will be the DCL model, which is the dynamic culture leadership model, and the Bowman and Deal's reframing leadership model. The DCL leadership model. DCL, also known as dynamic culture leadership. Characteristics include communication improvement and strategic planning. Advantages of the DCL model includes transformational and situational leadership theories, which can be applied short-term and long-term, which can be dependent upon the situations. Transformational leaders inspire and motivate employees to be creative and innovative. Other advantages of the DCL model include it is made of contingency theories. A leader who can plan for contingency plans and adjust contingency plans will be successful in a field that is very dynamic and evolving rapidly. Disadvantages of the DCL model is it can be difficult to manage. Also, being made of many theories, it can be difficult for a leader to choose a theory to help guide them. Leadership Model 2. Bowman and Deal's reframing leadership model. Characteristics include using the reframing leadership model in short-term decision making instances. It is also made up of 4 organizational constructs, which are structural, human resources, symbolic, and political, which we will discuss later. Advantages of the Bowman and Dills reframing leadership model include: it provides different perspectives to decision making. All or some of the frames can be used all at once. Disadvantages of the Bowman and Dills reframing leadership model is it can be time consuming. Time consuming because one has to observe work processes, employees, and evaluate, and then come up with a plan to fix and help train employees. Next, it could be difficult to manage the staff. Similarities of the leadership between the DCL leadership model and Bowman-Dills leadership include: they are both situational leadership models, meaning depending upon the situation presented, leaders can evaluate the situation and choose a different leadership style or framework to best implement to solve the problem or issue. Both can be used for short-term solutions. Both can influence the culture of an organization. Both possess descriptive and prescriptive elements that can be learned and embedded into the organizational culture of health organizations. Differences between the leadership models. For the DCL leadership model, it is situational and transformational leadership, meaning it takes in accountability of both methods. Depending on the situation, leaderships can choose their different leadership style. Being transformational, for instance, where leaders are more open to creating a team that is able to produce their own ideas. It is also made of constructs such as improved communication and strategic planning, and its focal point is on the leader, meaning the leader will influence the organization and will be the role model. With Bowman and Dills' model, it is also situational leadership, but just situational leadership. The focal point will be the organization. Meaning, because Bowman and Dill come from education and public administration disciplines respectively, collectively from organizational theory backgrounds, and recommend organization as an can influence the leader type of model. It is made up of 4 organizational constructs, which include structural, which focuses on governance, committees, policies, procedures, rules, and authority. Human resources, which focuses on the rights of people, the right skills, and make sure the right people are provided. Symbolic, which focuses on symbols, organizational stories, legends, a key visual piece of culture to be proud of and to help decrease confusion. And political, which focuses on relationships and connections, clarifies what they want and how to get it. Just as building relationship with stakeholders.
best model to use in healthcare organizations will be the DCL leadership model. It encompasses the transformational and situational leadership. It provides a short-term solution and can contribute to the vision of the organization. With staffing being a short-term and long-term problem, the DCL leadership model can guide a leader to implement ways to mitigate the staffing problem, such as meeting with staff, increasing communication, increasing methods for creativity for staff and leadership to come together and find ways to fix the staffing problem. In conclusion, one must seek the problem, which will be inadequate staffing, evaluate the different leadership models between the Bowman and Dills leadership, and the DCL leadership model. Bowman and Dills leadership model can provide different constructs which will focus on different areas within the staffing issue, which will focus on different work processes if that is the route taken. Most likely, the human resources construct is the most common and most useful of the Dill and Bowman's model. DCL model will provide transformational leadership and situational leadership, which will look at the situation being inadequate staffing, which will provide ways to evaluate the situation, get feedback from current staff, current leadership, statistics and data on turnovers, and finds ways to meet with current staff and leadership to fix the problem and to increase employee engagement, to train current staff to include new hires, and to increase diversity and inclusion, to keep and retain new hires, and to create educational methods to increase organizational knowledge and increase organizational culture. We will use the DCO leadership model to implement the plan of action to guide the organization or the department. The end. Thank you.